Okay. So, there's Andres Segovia. I will post an update with info shared here. Is there any question I missed, Andres? What else did I miss? I covered so much. I've lost track, but trying to remember what else you asked. And thank you for supporting the project, Andres. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. And you guys should watch his video on YouTube because he talks about it and does review. I think I covered. Okay.
Cool.
This is the Andres Segovia Show.
Hey everyone, I'm coming at you with another video. This time I'm doing a response to the responses that I got to my initial video on the BraX3 phone. For those of you following along, you would know that Rob Braxman actually took time to address my questions that I raised in that initial video on his stream over on Rumble and Local. Thank you very much, Rob, for taking the time to answer my questions and also for the shoutouts. I really appreciate it. Now here's something you all don't know. One of the co-founders of Brax Technologies, Plemon, he responded to my video within 24 hours, and I thank you very much, Plemon, for watching my video and taking the time to respond to me. I'll be sharing some of the responses that Plemon sent me to you all. So Plemon is from Lunar Tech. My original video, initial video, was over 30 minutes long, and in it I do discuss the Lunar Tech part, but time constraints and all that, and I wanted to make sure I get the pertinent information out there. I left the Lunar Tech part out, regrettably, because Plemon, that really speaks more about where you're coming from and what you're bringing to the business angle here for the BraX3 device. So let me make up for that by going over what Lunar Tech is. So you can actually find us on the IndieGoGo campaign, which was funded in about 4 days, and go check out the updates if you haven't done so already. I backed the campaign. It's awesome to see a lot of people are interested in this device, but if you scroll all the way down, you'll see the list of the co-founders. There's Rob, Dominic, and Plemon. So Plemon's from Lunar Tech, and Lunar Tech, they're the ones manufacturing the BraX3 phone. So this is the part about Lunar Tech. Lunar is an international technology development and manufacturing company founded by Dominic, who is also one of the co-founders of Brax Technologies. During the last 15 years, Lunar has delivered over 50 mobile devices, including the privacy-focused devices like the Brax2, Blackphone Privy, Morena 2, and more. And it's that Blackphone part that really caught my attention. And it's because I was discussing it for a while. I'm like, you know what? I'll just cut it out from the original video. I kind of regret that I did it, but here I am making up for it. So Plemon responded to my video, and I took some of the responses that he made in the email, and I'm sharing them with you here. I'll give you some context as to what is being said in this first slide, because some people don't know about this. I was aware of this, but I didn't know to what extent it really changed the way they had to go about launching the pre-orders. So this explains it. The IndieGoGo switch. Plemon writes, the fiasco led to a few things. We had to stretch the delivery date. Okay, so let's pause right there. Originally, the device was announced and was intended to be released in January. Now it's being released in March. With a lot of these parts and pieces being manufactured in China, for those of you that are unaware, that entire region, Far East Asia, basically celebrates Chinese New Year, and that happens usually around late to January to early February, and there's a lot of people taking time off. It's really culturally one of the big festivities of the year. So that's going to be delaying a lot of manufacturing. We had to simplify the project and adjust to possibly lower order volume because of the issues. As a result, we dropped the BraX3 black design, which was priced at $279, and went with the transparent design priced at $299. Choosing the transparent one was a no-brainer. People loved it. We loved the statement it also makes. I noticed you appreciated it too, which warmed my heart. Absolutely. Smart choice there. We had to find an alternative method to enable pre-orders and have people contribute. Thus, the IndieGoGo, which guarantees payment, which was important, not because we needed the money to fund inventory, but not to lose momentum. We believe we lost over $100,000 because of the Stripe fiasco, and also reach our sales targets. What happened was, because people were shopping with VPN, kind of masking their identity, it really looked like this was like a fraud thing going on, so Stripe shut it down. That's basically in a nutshell what happened. One of the things that Brax Technology wasn't able to get back was the charge for the POS. So that merchant fee, they kind of got stuck with it. And like Rob said on the stream, and just like Plemon says here, they don't need the funds to fund the inventory. So that's covered. It's just to make sure that, production goes without delay and getting the phones out to you. And depending on how many phones ultimately shipped first, because you don't want to order a ton of these things that don't end up selling, so they end up sitting in inventory and have to fire sell them and just take a loss. It's better to have items that you sell out of and then manufacture more on demand. So good on them. That's a smart move. Okay, so now the next part is about the Brax OS, because that was a little confusing. It's like, okay, so IODE is now involved in here, and now maybe it's a dual boot. So that's answered here, and I want to respond to this. So Plemon writes, what we meant by the Brax3 OS support is a few things. First, each custom ROM team has to use the Brax3 source to build their OS properly. Usually custom ROM developers work on framework and app layer. We do the hardware kernel stuff. If we don't support the patches to them or major OS updates, custom ROM projects like IODE will not be able to pull it off. We decided not to develop Brax OS as a consumer-facing operating system and make a change to the initial marketing message. The main reasons had to do with us wanting to focus on supporting custom ROM projects like IODE OS, Ubuntu Touch, and hopefully more soon to port their OS on the Brax3. We want to make privacy more accessible, and we think the best way is through collaboration between the community. I think that's a very smart move, because I think that will also help with timely updates, because you have focused teams and resources working on their specific divisions. And now the specs. Plemon writes, I noticed we have some missing info on the specs. I will have our team fix it and add the missing specs. So before I started recording, I did check IndieGoGo, and they did add the missing specs and corrected some typos. By the way, on your video, the full spec showed 6 gigabytes of RAM. We actually decided to increase it to 8 gigabytes. It was announced as 6 gigabytes on initial launch at $279. We set out a community goal of selling 1,500 devices, and the Stripe issue messed up everything. So we decided to just upgrade it. But yeah, we fixed the specs and changed it to 8 gigabytes on IndieGoGo. So those are the main parts of Plemon's responses that I wanted to share with you all. I think those were the most pertinent ones for all of you. But this is by no means the last video I will do on the subject, because as you requested, and because I backed it, I will be reviewing the device. So I'll be giving you a first look when I get my hands on it, and of course giving you my thoughts on it after the fact. You probably heard, and you can also run Ubuntu Touch, and the way it'll work is you can either use one or the other. It's not dual boot, so it's not like you could turn it on. I use Boot Camp on a Mac computer that runs the Intel chip. So when I turn on the computer, I can choose whether I'm going to run Windows or if I'm going to run Mac OS. And that's not the way it's going to work with the phone. You either run one or the other. You can't run both simultaneously. But how that's going to be done, I'm really curious about, because like, okay, so how do I choose? Because then will it be in the future, if I'm going to buy a Brax3 phone, say for the first time, am I choosing which operating system I'm going to be getting it preloaded with? And I'm sure that by the time I get it, because the testing of how all these things go, and the chart and the timeline that they put up on IndieGoGo, IODE is the priority, Ubuntu is secondary. So I want to see what that's going to be like. So do we have to do some flashing of our own? It's going to be an interesting experience for sure. The fact that we can do more with the phone is what I like. I like having that kind of freedom. And the way Plemon's responding here, it's not just Ubuntu and it's not just IODE. They're talking about flashing other softwares as well. So does that mean we can silo like a Calyx OS? And if we really want to, a Graphene OS? Some of you know the drama behind that. But they're really talking about those possibilities. And I think that's awesome. Freedom of choice. And they're planning for the long haul here with repairability. You know what that opens up a possibility for? Upgrade. You can modularly upgrade things. It wouldn't surprise me that they would intend to do that. So let's say it has a 50 megapixel shooter now. And in 2 years, what if the part's like, hey, you want to upgrade your camera? You can buy this part, put it there. Boom. I can totally see that happening. And for those of you asking me to compare this thing to the unplugged phone, it's inevitable. I will do it, but I'm not going to do it ahead of time because I don't have the phone. And that's not going to be realized until next year. And who knows? We might even have an unplugged phone too by then. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. But until then, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to stay in the know. Follow me across the socials at @TheAndreSegovia on X_Andres Segovia. Anything and everything about me is at TheAndreSegovia.com. And I'll see you on the next one.